Exodus chapter 21.
פרשת משפטים, ספר שמות, פרק כ"א.
Now these are the regulations that you are to set before them.
ואלה המשפטים אשר תשים לפניהם.
When you acquire a Hebrew serf,
כי תקנה עבד עברי,
he is to serve for 7 years.
6 שנים יעבוד.
But in the 7th, he is to go out at liberty, for nothing.
ובשביעית יצא לחופשי חינם.
If he came in by himself,
אם בגפו יבוא,
he is to go out by himself.
בגפו יצא.
If he was the spouse of a wife,
אם בעל אישה הוא,
his wife is to go out with him.
ויצאה אשתו עמו.
If his Lord gives him a wife,
אם אדוניו ייתן לו אישה,
and she bore him sons or daughters,
וילדה לו בנים או בנות,
the wife and those she bore are to remain her lord's,
האישה וילדיה תהיה לאדוניה,
and he is to go out by himself.
והוא יצא בגפו.
But if the serf should say, yes, say,
ואם אמור יאמר העבד,
I love my Lord, my wife, and my children,
אהבתי את אדוני, את אשתי ואת בניי,
I will not go out at liberty.
לא אצא חופשי.
His Lord is to have him approach God's oracle,
והגישו אדוניו אל האלוהים,
and then he is to have him approach the door or the post,
והגישו אל הדלת או אל המזוזה,
his Lord is to pierce his ear with a piercer,
ורצה אדוניו את אוזנו במרצע,
and he is to serve him forever.
ועבדו לעולם.
When a man sells his daughter as a handmaid,
וכי ימכור איש את ביתו לאמה,
she is not to go out as serfs go out.
לא תצא כצאת העבדים,
If she is displeasing in the eyes of her Lord,
אם רעה בעיני אדוניה,
who designated her for himself, he is to have her redeemed.
אשר לא יעדה והפדה,
To a foreign people he has not the power to sell her,
לעם נוכרי לא ימשול למוכרה,
since he has betrayed her.
בבגדו בה.
But if it is for his son that he designates her,
ואם לבנו יעדנה,
according to the just rights of women, he is to deal with her.
כמשפט הבנות יעשה לה.
If another he takes for himself,
אם אחרת ייקח לו,
then her board, her clothing, or her oil he is not to diminish.
שארה כסותה ועונתה לא יגרע.
If these 3 things he does not do for her,
ואם 3 אלה לא יעשה לה,
she is to go out for nothing, with no money.
ויצאה חינם אין כסף.
He that strikes a man so that he dies
מכה איש ומת,
is to be put to death. Yes, death.
מות יומת.
Now, should he not have lain in wait for him?
ואשר לא צדה,
But should God have brought him opportunely into his hand,
והאלוהים אינה לידו,
I will set aside for you a place where he may flee.
ושמתי לך מקום אשר ינוס שמה.
But when a man schemes against his neighbor to kill him with cunning,
וכי יזיד איש על רעהו להורגו ועורמה,
from my very slaughter sight you are to take him away, to die.
מעם מזבחי תיקחנו למות.
And he that strikes his father or his mother
ומכה אביו ואמו,
is to be put to death. Yes, death.
מות יומת.
And he that steals a man, whether he sells him
וגונב איש ומחרו,
or whether he is found in his hand.
ונמצא בידו,
He is to be put to death. Yes, death.
מות יומת,
And he that insults his father or his mother
ומקלל אביו ואמו,
is to be put to death. Yes, death.
מות יומת,
When men quarrel,
וכי יריבון אנשים,
and a man strikes his neighbor with a stone or with his fist,
והיכה איש את רעהו באבן או באגרוף,
yet he does not die, but rather takes to his bed,
ולא ימות ונפל למשכב,
if he can rise and walk from outside
אם יקום והתהלך בחוץ,
upon his crutch,
על משענתו,
he that struck him is to go clear.
וניקה המכה,
Only he is to make good for his resting time,
רק שבטו ייתן,
and provide that he be healed. Yes, healed.
ורפו ירפא.
When a man strikes his serf or his handmaid with a rod,
וכי יכה איש את עבדו או את אמתו בשבט,
so that he dies under his hand,
ומת תחת ידו,
it is to be avenged. Yes, avenged.
נקום ינקם.
Nonetheless, if for a day or 2 days he endures,
אך אם יום או יומיים יעמוד,
it is not to be avenged,
לא יוקם,
for he is his own money.
כי חספו הוא.
When 2 men scuffle
וכי ינצו אנשים,
and deal a blow to a pregnant woman,
ונגפו אישה הרה,
so that her child abort forth,
ויצאו ילדיה,
but other harm does not occur,
ולא יהיה אסון,
he is to be fined. Yes, fined,
ענוש יענש,
as the woman's spouse imposes for him,
כאשר ישית עליו בעל האישה,
but he is to give it only according to assessment.
ונתן בפלילים.
But if harm should occur,
ואם אסון יהיה,
then you are to give life in place of life,
ונתת נפש תחת נפש,
eye in place of eye,
עין תחת עין,
tooth in place of tooth,
שן תחת שן,
hand in place of hand,
יד תחת יד,
foot in place of foot,
רגל תחת רגל,
burnt scar in place of burnt scar,
כביה תחת כביה,
wound in place of wound,
פצע תחת פצע,
bruise in place of bruise,
חבורה תחת חבורה.
When a man strikes the eye of his serf or the eye of his handmaid and ruins it,
וכי יכה איש את עין עבדו או את עין אמתו ושיחתה,
he is to send him free at liberty for the sake of his eye.
לחופשי ישלחנו תחת עינו.
If the tooth of his serf or the tooth of his handmaid he breaks off,
ואם שן עבדו או שן אמתו יפיל,
he is to send him free at liberty
לחופשי ישלחנו
for the sake of his tooth.
תחת שינו.
When an ox gores a man or a woman, so that one dies,
וכי ייגח שור את איש או את אישה ומת,
the ox is to be stoned. Yes, stoned.
סקול יסקל השור,
And its flesh is not to be eaten.
ולא יאכל את בשרו,
And the owner of the ox is to be clear.
ובעל השור נקי.
But if the ox was known as a gorer
ואם שור נגח הוא,
from yesterday and the day before,
מתמול שלשום,
and it was so designated to its owner, and he did not guard it,
והועד בבעליו ולא ישמרנו,
and it causes the death of a man or of a woman.
והמית איש או אישה,
The ox is to be stoned,
השור ייסקל,
and its owner as well is to be put to death.
וגם בעליו יומת.
If a ransom is established for him,
אם כופר יושת עליו,
he is to give it as a redemption for his life,
ונתן פדיון נפשו,
all that is imposed for him,
ככל אשר יושת עליו.
whether it is a son it gores or a daughter it gores,
או בן ייגח או בת ייגח,
according to the same judgment it is to be done to him.
כמשפט הזה יעשה לו.
If it is a serf, the ox gores, or a handmaid,
אם עבד ייגח השור או אמה,
silver, 30 shekels, he is to give to his lord,
כסף 30 שקלים ייתן לאדוניו,
and the ox
והשור
is to be stoned.
ייסקל.
When a man opens up a pit,
וכי יפתח איש בור,
and when a man digs a pit, and does not cover it up,
או כי יכרה איש בור ולא יחסנו,
and an ox or a donkey falls into it,
ונפל שם שור או חמור,
the owner of the pit is to pay.
בעל הבור ישלם,
The worth in silver he is to restore to its owner,
כסף ישיב לבעליו,
and the dead animal is to remain his.
והמת יהיה לו.
When a man's ox deals a blow to his neighbor's ox, so that it dies,
וכי יגוף שור איש את שור רעהו, ומת,
they are to sell the live ox
ומכרו את השור החי,
and split its worth in silver,
וחצו את כספו,
and the dead animal they are also to split.
וגם את המת יחצון.
Yet, if it was known
או נודע,
that it was a goring ox from yesterday and the day before,
כי שור נגח הוא מתמול שלשום,
and its owner did not guard it,
ולא ישמרנו בעליו,
he is to pay, yes, pay
שלם ישלם,
an ox in place of the ox,
שור תחת השור,
and the dead animal is to remain his.
והמת יהיה לו.
Now, when a man steals an ox or a lamb,
כי יגנוב איש שור עושה,
and slaughters it or sells it,
וטבחו או מחרו,
5 cattle he is to pay in place of the ox,
5 בקר ישלם תחת השור,
and 4 sheep in place of the lamb,
ו4 צאן תחת השה.